Sometimes when you begin to sit and think about the way things are happening, then you ask yourself, why is it that our case is always different as a continent? Why must it be that our people keep running away from Africa to the West? They keep running away from their various countries in Africa to the West to search for greener pastures. When we have all we have here, all we need, all we should ever want, we have it back home in Africa. Why are they running away? Now there is a reason why. Because these people are trying their very best to keep us in the state that we are so that they can keep growing under our expense. So they will keep growing while we keep remaining the way we are. And there is a strategy which they have devised. There is a means which they have devised to carry out their plan.
The biggest ball and chain that's holding back Western African development, in my opinion, is the economic policy called seigniorage. Now what seigniorage is the transfer of wealth that occurs when a currency is printed by the central bank, whereby the value of the currency for individuals who hold that currency goes down, and the central bank can then purchase assets with the money that they printed. Now I gotta be careful with this topic because the last time I talked about this, my account got flagged and my video was taken down. So I'm not gonna mention any particular countries or currencies in this video going forward. What makes seigniorage particularly nasty to West African countries is that it brings down their real GDP growth. So let's say that the GDP growth in a country was 6% for a given year, but the cost of seigniorage was 4%. Well, the real GDP growth falls from 6% to 2%. Now, what does that mean in terms of the growth of the actual economy? It means that instead of the economy doubling every 10 to 12 years, under the effects of seigniorage, it only doubles every 30 to 40 years, thus massively reducing the economic growth for the entire area and the entire continent. Of course, I'm only talking hypothetically because I wouldn't want to offend anybody on this platform, but if I was an evil central bank that wanted to maintain colonialism, what I might do is get a whole bunch of countries in a certain continent completely dependent on me issuing currency. Then I would devalue that currency by printing a bunch of money, and I would use the money that was printed out of thin air and go back to those countries and buy up all their natural resources so they wouldn't be able to develop and would eternally be dependent on us issuing the currency. That's if I was an evil bank who was just trying to exploit people. But that's just more of like a hypothetical thing. I'm not calling out anybody in particular. But if this hypothetical story has been of value to you, give me a like and a follow. That helps my channel out, and I'll see you on the next video, assuming I haven't ticked anyone off and they take my account down.
A lot of times we hear that they give out loans to our various countries in Africa, and we think that those loans, those grants, are out of free will or out of goodwill. Not knowing that the more we collect this money, the more we collect these loans, the more we are deepening ourselves into these problems. We are using our hand to cause all these problems for ourselves. We do not know that the more we keep allowing our leaders, or the more our leaders keep collecting this loan, you see sometimes when they talk about loans and grants, I keep saying it, they'll jump happily. Like children that have seen sweets in the hands of their parents, they'll jump happily to go collect these loans, to go collect these grants. When they hear about AIDS, oh, whoever is giving AIDS to where, they will be so happy to go collect this money. And even the money they collect, they won't even use it for what it is meant for. They will still siphon this money into their pockets at the expense of their own people. That is the level which we have gone. Now, the more we keep collecting these loans from these persons, the more we keep doing ourselves more harm than good. Because the devil do not give you something free of charge. Whenever he's giving you something, he knows what he's getting in return. So this is our case with these persons. And this is the bitter truth that a lot of times you can't even say it. You can't even properly explain it, because when you do that, something will happen to your platform. Like you heard from his own mouth. So now, why can't we as African people tell ourselves that it is time for us to open our eyes to change some of the policies that we have in our various countries in Africa? Because some of these policies are not policies that are of our favor. Before our leaders establish these things, they get rules from these persons. before they bring up whatever it is they want to bring up and they think about the people, these persons are involved, and that is why countries in Africa cannot progress. You hear everywhere, every country in Africa, there's issue of inflation, there's issue of, we have economic problems here and there. And the root of all these problems, we know them. Our leaders know where these problems are coming from. If our leaders can be sincere to their citizens, to us as citizens, they won't tell us the truth that they know, they are aware of where all our problems in Africa is coming from. Our leaders are all aware of where our problems in Africa is coming from. They know. Because they are the ones that go as delegates, they represent us, they go for all these meetings, they go and sit down and look at them as if they are God sent from heaven. They can't open their mouth to say anything to defend their own people. Now, those that work according to their tune, those that work under them as puppets, they give them freedom. They try their best to do what? To protect their reign. Because they know what they are getting from each of those leaders. And we are aware of it. And it's so pathetic that we're so helpless that we can't do anything. But if we keep talking to ourselves like this, keep triggering that thing that they have blocked in our heads, there will be a day that it will be enough. Like they say, 99 days is for the thief, a day for the owner. There will be a day that is going to be okay. Now, depend on our collective agreement, whatever we decide to do as a collective body. What they are after is to keep us in the state we are or below the state we are, even at the moment. The moment that nothing is working. Does it not surprise you that sometimes you keep seeing a lot of, not even sometimes, these days you see a lot of persons happily running away from their countries, their various countries. They are happily going away. Is it supposed to be like that? No. How many of them is happily coming down to Africa? The only time they come is when they want to come and steal out mineral resources from here. That is when they come. And when you use the word steal, they get angry and say they do not steal. They pay for it. How much do they pay for those things they come for? And we are saying we are not selling anymore. We don't want to sell to you anymore. And that is when, if our leaders will reason up to the point where they will say, okay, no, we will not sell these things anymore. We will stop the exporting of mineral resources from each country in Africa. We will utilize what we have here so that we'll stop importing whatever it is there for us to import. Then we'll see how the world will go. Then we'll see that the importance of Africa, which we are talking about, the whole world will get to see it. Which they are aware of it themselves, but they are shying away from it. If African leaders decide today that they are not exporting anything out, those money they are collecting, they are not in need of it anymore. They are not exporting any mineral resources out anymore. And they do not want to import anything anymore. There will be a problem. But at the end of it, we will have our ground as a united nation, as a united Africa. We will have our ground. The more we keep exporting, the more we keep importing, and we talk about relations. Right? We're talking about relations. And do you know that they will threaten any nation that stand up? And that is why I talk about doing this thing as a collective body, as a continent. When we do this, we should relate with these people by our own terms. We should the relationship we have with these people, it should be by our own terms. Enough of all their terms. Their terms is not favoring us as a continent, as a people, as black people. It's not favoring us. And if we keep saying no for peace to reign, let's just keep hanging. Let's just keep managing so that things will work well. We will keep being in the state that we are. The state that we are in every African nation where things are not working. Our currencies are becoming nothing. Because we keep forcing ourselves to these people. You go to the market these days to get things, you see, you just look at yourself. And then you have to survive as a person. You have families to take care of. There are lots of things for you to do with money. But things get harder by day. As the day goes by for Africans, things get harder. And that is why a lot of persons see that there is no other option. The only option is just to leave the country. And then you leave and go there, you think you are living the best life. Do you know the plans they have for you? Now they are luring everybody out so that the country would spoil. Everything in the continent will spoil. They are luring everybody out so that they can have free access to keep coming to do what they want to do. So those that could sit back and develop the continent, they pick them out, they are luring them out, giving them reasons why they should leave, telling them that Africa is so poor, is so whatever, they should come out to them. There they have good, they have advantages there with them. We're there with them. And then these are people joyfully they run away joyfully, happily, they go away. Those people we need to help us grow, go away. Then we keep remaining in the state that we are. I think it's time that in our own way, in our little way, from our families and the society we are living in, we start making something happen. That change we're talking about, that we are looking at it as if it's impossible, can be possible if we start gradually creating awareness, talking to ourselves, and things will be better in the future. Bye for now.